Engage for Success Radio, raising the profile of employee engagement and shining a light on good practice for people who believe there's a better way to work.
Good afternoon and welcome to Engage for Success radio show number 635, How Leaders Can Turn Disengaged Teams into Connected Ones. Today we're going to be talking about why connection is the foundation of engagement. I'm Jo Dodds, your host for today. I'm an engagement consultant working within the Engage for Success core team. The Engage for Success movement is an inclusive movement committed to the idea that there is a better way to work by releasing more of the capability and potential of people at work. We spread the word about employee engagement and shine a light on good practice, inspiring people and workplaces to thrive. And we're widely supported across the UK, involving the public, private and third sectors. If you go to our website, engageforsuccess.org, you can use the link at the bottom of the page to join our newsletter list, and all our social media links are there too. My guest today is Tom Krieglstein, who's CEO of Swift Kick Leadership. Welcome, Tom. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, I am so happy to be your 635th.
I know, and I'm really happy to be talking to you because we have had no end of technology problems today, haven't we? So we're really impressed that we're actually here.
Good thing AI is not about to take over the world. So, we deal with this little tech now. But I'm so glad to be here. So glad to be here.
Lovely, thank you. And as you say, 635 shows. Every time I read the next show, every time I'm like, oh, so many. But yeah, we've been going since 2012. So that was before people even knew what a podcast was, really.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's back in the days of RSS feeds.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Lovely. So start by telling us, Tom, who you are, what you do.
So I am, as you said, Tom Krieglstein. I run an organization called Swift Kick Leadership. And what we do is we do leadership and team development programs, both at the corporate level and the university level, because at the corporate level, we have a huge issue with employee engagement. And at the college university level, they have a huge issue with student engagement. So for the past 25 plus years, I have been putting together a combination of my own content, plus research, plus on the site, in the field practice on strategies on how leaders can better engage their people. And the reason why this matters is because I genuinely believe that we are about to enter a period in which, because AI is taking over, we're about to enter a period where the value of the human connection is going to be more important than it's ever been, because everything online, even my voice right now, especially because you don't see video, could very well just be AI in less than a year. And that means then everything online, we don't know if it's real or fake, meaning these in-person human connections are going to be more important than ever. And maybe it's not a shocker, but leaders tend to be really bad at it, and the data backs it up. And so that's the work I do. I love it. Been doing it for 25 plus years, and there's a lot more work to do, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you say in corporate, but then also in the colleges, is that actually teaching the students about engagement or helping the colleges to engage the students?
Yeah, so in the UK versus the United States, there is a different setup here. In the United States, they have a huge division of a university called Student Life or Student Affairs. And under that, there's tons of student clubs and organizations, affinity groups. Yeah. And those are run by students who we call student leaders. They need to be trained on how to better engage their people. So we would go in and do their leadership conference, their summer training, like their executive board training, to help them to better engage their people within their club organization.
That's really interesting. I was sat next to my 19-year-old daughter yesterday, who is at university in the UK and is president of a sports society, and she was talking about the challenges that she has in that sort of leadership world. But I didn't know that was focused on. I don't know if we have that in the UK in real terms. I think we just let them muddle through, work it out for themselves.
Well, Joe, to be fair, that's how it is in most cases here. Is they just let them muddle through, and it's really amazing. Now, here's why this matters. It's going to translate to corporate too. At the college level, the number one reason a student drops out or transfers from an institution their first year is because of some big life event, like financial health, something related to that. The university can't control that. But the number two reason they drop out, 30% drop out or transfer because they don't feel socially connected to the institution. That is 100% dictated by the leaders on that campus. If we can't make that student feel socially connected, like this is my place, I belong here, they're going to leave. And that's a huge, here in the United States, that's a huge loss financially per student.
Yeah, absolutely. And so prior to doing this, where did this all come from for you? How did you get involved in this? Or, engagement generally?
Yeah. There's two parts. One, my dad was a philosophy professor, and he built this whole philosophy called collective orchestration. And the idea behind it is that in nature, in so many ways, the individual in nature struggles, but when the individual collectively gets together and builds this larger entity, it can do so much more. That was his core philosophy. He never quite got it over to humans, but he always thought about it.
Yeah.
I as a student in high school was horrible, and not a horrible person. I didn't score great on my grades. I got rejected from almost every school. Ended up going to a school that was closer to my home than my high school was. In that, people in my neighborhood made fun of it because it was like the place that rejects went to. But I got involved on campus into the student life, into the community there, and it changed my life. And it was that realization there that, wait a second, if everyone were plugged into a positive, supportive community, the world would be a better place. And we are in a society right now where technology is amazing, but it is dismantling many of the communities that we used to spend a lot of time in. We are trading convenience and individual technologies for the sense of community. And that's a huge issue for humans because we're biologically wired to be connected to each other.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So engagement then, we've been around for a while, as we've said. You've been working on it for a long time too. Was looking at the sort of latest Gallup figures recently, and it's still not really improving, is it?
No.
You've worked with a lot of organisations. Why do you think it's either stuck or going backwards in lots of cases?
Well, we're at a 10-year low. Their last numbers was 31% are actively engaged, 52% are disengaged, and then 17% are actively disengaged. So, and it's at a 10-year low right now, which is, considering that the world collectively, I think it's somewhere around $10 billion is spent on employee engagement. The fact that we're spending that much money and it's getting worse is a huge problem. Or sorry, not billion, sorry, trillion. My mistake.
Yes.
Trade that B for T. And so,
I was just about to say, I feel like I should jump in and say that our last report to the UK research had actually gone up.
Okay.
A little bit, but only a little bit. But anyway, globally, maybe slightly different.
It's because your beer is better over there. That's why.
That'll be it. But yeah, it was negligible, as in, it certainly was better than it had been coming out of COVID and so on. But yeah, I mean, as we said, the Gallup figures have shown a different picture, globally. So yeah,
that's a great point. Great point, because that is those numbers are US based.
Yeah. Yeah. So why? What are we going to do about
it? Well, first, why is a combination of I'm going to go back to the technology. We have these amazing tools and technologies that have pulled us apart from each other. They've made it easier to communicate in a lot of ways, but we are no longer spending as much time with people as we used to. Same thing with organizations. We went through a period with the organizations in which it was much more transactional. You are here for a paycheck and you leave, versus more of the pension idea that I'm going to help grow you as a person here in this organization to stay with me long term. And I can get into all the reasons why that's happening in society, but within the employee world, it's been slowly breaking down over the decades. and it's getting worse. And now COVID sped that up much faster. And now we have these tools that people here in the United States, people don't necessarily want to go back to work because they're like, well, if I could just go from my bed to my desk and that's work. There's a convenience there, which is really nice. But what we miss out is the interaction, in-person experiences with each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
yeah.
Then?
So now the question becomes, how do you fix it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you solve it?
Yes.
And knowing we have a very short period of time, I have to address one thing before I say how do we solve it, is that in any organization, remember on the Gallup research for the United States, I said that 17% are actively disengaged. Those are people who are destroying your culture. And I will share with you ways that you can engage your people better. But for every amount of money that you put into engaging your people, if you keep these actively disengaged people, or who we call in my world negative Nellies, they're going to continue to burn through that cash. Meaning we have to address the negative Nellies first before we can even talk about dealing with the actual employees who are either actively or who are either disengaged or engaged.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so what we start with those people. What do we do?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a framework that I created called the Competency Contribution Framework. And basically it breaks down engagement into two sections. Competency is how good are they at their job? And then contribution, how much do they care about the organization as a whole beyond just their list? And so if you take that and you put it into a four quadrant chart, you now have in the upper right, those are the people that are on, those are the people that are either neutral or net positive in your organization. But then you have three other quadrants there, negative Nellies. In there, you have three levels. I'll tell you to you quickly. The first one's the duds and deadbeats. They're horrible at their job. They talk crap about the culture. Bye-bye. Good riddance, out the door. But then you have the people who are horrible at their job, meaning they submit late, they always cause issues, they cause other people to do more work, but they love the company. They wear the t-shirt, they come to every event, they know all the core values, they're friendly. These are your friendly failures. And how do we deal with them is we have to engage them and figure out what is it that's blocking them from being better at their job. There's a process called the management pyramid, which does that, and it asks a series of questions. But ultimately, what we're trying to find out for this person, is this tactical, meaning they don't know how to use spreadsheets or whatever, or is it behavioral? They don't like working with people. They like, and that then leads us to the last group, which is the upper left corner. And these are your culture crushers. These are the people who are your top salespeople. They bring in all the money, all the revenue. They are amazing at their job, but they talk crap about your people. They steal clients from other employees. They never want to work with anyone else, and so you've isolated them. And so, what do you do with these people? And I often ask people when I do trainings, I say, "So, what are you going to do?" And usually the conclusion comes down to, if it is a competency issue, there's a hope that they can change because we train them. But if it's a contribution issue, that's usually a behavioral issue. And Joe, I wish I was better than most humans, but behavioral change is hard. And I have my faults, and I've tried, and I know it's there, but it's so hard to change behavior. And so those people tend to be the hardest. So what I say to managers is try to train up the friendly failures and give the culture crushers a chance, but be very aware that it's probably not going to work.
Yes, that's interesting. And many organizations do keep those successful people because, as you say, they are bringing in the money, and they sort of make excuses and sort of purposely underestimate the impact that they're having on people because they need them, sort of thing, don't they? But In the bigger
Short-term
picture,
gain.
they don't need them, do they?
No, short-term, it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
Watch, get rid of that person and watch three of your other people step up, because
Yeah.
they've been beaten down by this culture crusher for so long.
What I find interesting of this is that a lot of organisations are looking at engagement from a sort of, if they were being positive, they'd say a holistic view, but you know, generically, as in what can we do? You know, what can we introduce? How can we change the things that we do within the organisation to increase, you know, improve, you know, psychological safety and motivate people and all those other things. And you're sort of taking quite an individual view in some ways, albeit with the whole team, but you're looking at the individuals rather than the organisation per se.
Exactly, because this style of engagement for a bunch of different people no longer works. In fact, it hasn't been working for the longest time. People, and Frederick Hertzberg was one of the original psychologists studying employee motivation, and he called it hygienic and intrinsic motivators. And I want to be clear also, just like it's important to get rid of the negative Nellies, if you as a manager or an owner of an organization or team, if you're not taking care of the hygienic motivators, which is my pay fair? Like, do you pay women and men the same rate? Is the time off fair? Is my workload fair? Is there a chance for promotion here? The things that are hygienic have to be taken care of before we can get into the intrinsic, which is the individual motivators. And to be clear, those are two, like, you got to do those first. Otherwise, everything I tell you now is not going to matter because they're pissed off because their pay isn't fair or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So you've developed something called dance floor theory. I'm intrigued. Tell us more.
Yeah. So that upper right corner, that's your dance floor. Now, why do we use dance floors? Two things. Number one, it's a metaphor everyone understands. Everyone's been to a dance floor. And Joe, if I were to ask you right now on a circular dance floor, where do the most engaged dancers tend to be hanging out? What would you say?
I'm assuming in the middle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I should say don't overthink this. Okay. And on a circular dance floor, where do the least engaged people tend to be hanging out?
On the edges.
On the edge. Now, employee engagement has been treating engagement as either you're engaged or you're not. In fact, Gallup only gives us 3 levels. You're engaged, you're not, or you're disengaged. And if you remove the actively disengaged, who are the negative Nellies, then Gallup's only given us 2 levels of engagement or disengaged, actively engaged, or disengaged. So on a dance floor, if you look at the dance floor from the top down, the person in the middle who's break dancing is super engaged. The person at the edge has their arms crossed saying, try to get me to dance. And the reality, though, is in between there's actually several levels of engagement. And each level needs to be treated in a different way, just like on a dance floor. Because if you try to go to that person at the edge and try to get them to break dance with you, it's not going to work. But if you try to get that person break dancing to get them to, like, oh, come on, just uncross your arms. That's all you need to do. It's not going to be motivating enough for them. And so in the world of dance floor theory, we have labeled or identified 6 levels of engagement on your quote unquote dance floor. And there's some core tenets that exist here. Number 1, the more friends you have on a dance floor, the more fun that dance is going to be and the longer it's going to last, aka the value of the human connection. So in an organization, it's all about the value of the human connection. I, as the manager, have to connect with my people individually, build the relationship. Once I've built a relationship, I'm going to get to know them. Then I'm going to know what level of engagement they're at. So the second core lesson of dance floor theory is that on any dance floor, there's always different levels of engagement from the least engaged to the center, which is what I just described. Yeah. The third core lesson is X plus 1. And I know, Joe, you don't want to hear about math during this podcast. And some people twitch when I bring it up. But X plus 1 is the idea that we're going to find out what level of engagement they're at, and we're going to feed them +1. Now, up until this point, I've been calling this dance floor theory, but it actually has a technical name, which is engagement-based leadership. Because I want you as a leader to first recognize what level of engagement your person is at, and then feed them +1. So in our world, I said there's 6 levels. To make it super easy, we call the least engaged people neutrals, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4s, and 5s. Level 5 leaders from Jim Collins' world. And so you find out if your person's at a 2, you feed them what is needed to get them to a 3. And I know, Joe, you're about to ask, okay, what do you do for each level?
Okay, go on then. What do you do for each level?
Joe, you're feeling. It's pressure to get this all under 30 minutes, but I'm making it happen here. Okay, so each level. First, I'm going to tell you what each level's thinking, and then I'm going to tell you how to engage them at that level. All right.
Okay.
So the very bottom of the engagement pyramid, or the dance floor, are our neutrals, our least engaged people. If you were to walk up to them and ask them to go do something, they might look at you, cross their arms, and go, meh. These are your quiet quitters. They are there, but are they really there? And they're not negatively impacting anything, but they're also definitely not positively. Then you move to your ones. Your ones are actually paying attention to something. So they stop going meh, 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 and actually look up, and they're paying attention. But their contribution and competency are still very low. Then you move to the twos. Your twos are saying, what's in it for me? They are actually interested in growing in your organization, but it's very an exchange base, meaning I'll do that for you if I get something in return. So it's very much like I'll help out at that event, or I'll step up, I'll lead that thing. Sure. But did you say I'm going to get extra pay for sticking around for doing that? Did you say there's going to be free food there? Okay. So your twos are what's in it for me. Your 3, 4s, and 5s host the party. Your 3s say, what am I capable of? This is now we're turned into actual leadership. 4s say, what's next for me? And 5s say, how can I help? Those are your level 5 leaders. Now that you know there's 6 levels, here's how to engage them. Whew. Joe, I need a sip of water. This is crazy.
You're doing well. You've got 8 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Okay, so how do you engage them? Number 1, neutrals. You have to get their attention. They're not even paying attention right now. They're just going through the motion. They're clocking in, clocking out. In my world, we call these. You have to create what are called plot twists. This is the part of the employee engagement that's the fun, interesting, unique thing. We need to create something that happens in their day that gets them to actually wake up. A lot of research behind the fact that when you create surprise moments, people actually, it opens up neural pathways for them to receive potentially something else. Because the first step is we got to get them to wake up. We do that through things called plot twists. On our website, there's 150 different ones. I'll give you one really quick example that a company did recently. Is someone and this is an in-office one. I'll give you a virtual one. In office, they put arms, eyes, and name tags on all the plants in the office. And it sounds silly, but the neutral who walks into that office is going to see the plant, and they're going to be like, huh, why is that plant named Bob? And they're going to wake up. And in that moment, they're probably going to ask someone, what's going on? What's this for? Which is how then you connect to the ones. Because remember, the ones are going, they're wondering what's happening. So now that you got them awake, asking what's going on, this is the second step of the engagement, which are the ones, is you have to build a connection. There's a concept called the vertical relationship within an organization. It's the relationship between the manager and the employee. And it's the number one predictor of an employee's level of satisfaction is how strong that relationship is. So once they ask what's going on, you as the manager need to build a relationship with them, between you and them. Now, 2, now that you have the relationship, now you can say to them, hey, can you help out at this project coming up? We need some extra hands. We're going to be there's going to be some food, and we're going to pay everyone a little bit extra money for helping out. Now there are 2. Remember, that's the what's in it for me. So they show up, they participate, but then they move. Now you got to get them to be a 3, and to engage 3s, it's all about a sense of belonging. So now once they're there and they're helping out and they're actually participating, You need to now connect them with other people in your organization. Your job at this level is to no longer be the gatekeeper of engagement, but the facilitator of engagement. You connect person A with person B. IBM did an internal study and they found that every new social connection that they made between different departments increased the bottom line in those departments collectively. Don't quote me on the exact number, but 900 and something. So now you have belonging. Okay, now they have friends. Another huge Gallup number says that if an employee has a best friend at work, the retention rate, engagement rates go up. So now you have this sense of belonging. Now that they have this sense of belonging, you got to get them to be a 4. And 4s are waiting for you to do one thing. The 4s are waiting for you to ask them to step up to a leadership position. Hey, listen, we have a vacancy at this event coming up, a vacancy in this committee we have. And I was thinking about it. You've really been participating in a lot of things. I've noticed how good you are. Would you be willing to run it for the next quarter? 4s are amazing competency and contribution. They just don't realize it yet. And you as a leader do. So you step them up by asking them. And then once they ask them and they step in that position, now the last and final step is level 5 leader. And the way to engage level 5 leaders is ownership. Let them run the show. Let them run the meetings. Let them run the events. Let them run the strategy planning, because that's how you engage them. And so, Joe, my last session, my last comment here is, in the beginning, I said one style engagement no longer works. If imagine now, you now know your organization has 6 levels. Imagine now going to your level 5 leaders and saying, hey, can you help out this event? There's going to be some free food. There'll be some free food there. Sure, they'll take the free food, but that's not nearly as motivating as saying, hey, we think that you could run the strategy retreat coming up. That's what motivates a 5. And that's why I say each level thinks in a different way and has to be interacted with in a different way.
Yeah, it's music to my ears. I people who've listened to this podcast for a long time will know that I always bang on about treating people as individuals. It's been a bit of a theme for me. So it really sort of fits with how I see the world. So we literally have got a minute and a half left. What should people do on Monday morning, as David McLeod say, to start to think about this, to do something different in their organisation with what they've learned on this today?
Yep. I'm going to give you some really quick tactical things that you can do Monday morning. Number 1 is, first, start to identify where your people are at on the engagement pyramid. Do you think that they're a neutral 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? Just a rough guess. Number 2, you as the manager, start building relationships with your people. Actually talk to them, learn them, get to know what they're interested in. Spend time chatting with them. And here's a great way to do it. Write them a handwritten note of appreciation for something they did. Or go talk with them in person. Either one is going to be great. And then lastly, as you build these relationships, look for common themes between your people. Because you are now you're like the flight coordinator, because you hear person A loves Batman and you find out person B loves Batman, but they don't know that they each love it. You want to draw as many lines as possible between all your people, because more friends equals more fun and it lasts longer. And at someday you as a leader are going to leave because you're sick, vacation, or bathroom or whatever. And if you are the lynch between all of them, the connection point between all of them, if you leave, it falls apart. But if they're connected with each other, you can leave and the dance continues on long after you're gone.
Lovely last line, thank you. Really appreciate it, Tom. You have packed a lot into just half an hour, so thank you, and thank you for persevering with the technology and making sure that you could still join us.
All good, thank you, I appreciate it.
And just to let you know, we've got Jordan Peace coming next week from Fring, who's CEO and co-founder. It's an employee experience platform consolidating rewards and recognition, lifestyle benefits, wellbeing programs, and so on. So they'll be talking, no doubt, employee experience.
Engage for Success Radio, raising the profile of employee engagement and shining a light on good practice for people who believe there's a better way to work.